So you're prepping for a chemical metallurgist interview.
Yeah.
I bet you're feeling kind of a mix of excitement and maybe a few butterflies,
A little bit, yeah.
Totally normal.
Definitely.
We're diving into RoleCatcher's career and interview guides
Okay.
to help you totally crush this interview.
Yeah.
Chemical metallurgy.
It's exciting stuff.
It's like real-life alchemy, isn't it?
It is in a way, yeah.
Extracting metals from ores.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to make them super strong. Corrosion resistant.
It's amazing the things that they can do with metals these days.
It really is.
With the growing demand for metals in everything.
Oh, yeah.
From, smartphones to spaceships.
Exactly.
It's a field with a really bright future.
It is.
You're stepping into something important.
Absolutely.
It's vital.
RoleCatcher uses AI to tailor your application. Did you know it can actually score your resume
Really?
against a specific job description
Oh, wow.
and show you what skills might be missing?
That's a huge advantage.
It is.
Yeah, most companies use some kind of automated system to screen resumes these days.
Oh, for sure.
And RoleCatcher can really help you speak their language.
Yeah.
It's like having a secret decoder ring
I love that.
for, those applicant tracking systems.
Right.
Plus, they have both free and paid versions.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can choose what works best for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what a chemical metallurgist actually does.
Okay.
I was looking at RoleCatcher's career guide.
Yeah.
And it's clear it's way more than just working in a mine.
It is.
There's labs, research facilities, different industries.
Think about the difference between extracting metal from raw ore versus recycling it from used electronics.
Interesting.
Both are really critical.
Yeah.
And they require very different skill sets.
That makes sense.
You could be working on improving the efficiency of a smelting process one day.
Wow.
And then developing new alloys for 3D printing the next.
That's so cool.
It's very diverse.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not always a cushy office job, is it?
No, it's not.
The career guide mentions some pretty challenging work environments.
Right.
Heat, dust, hazardous chemicals.
For sure.
You got to be tough for this job.
Absolutely. Safety is paramount in this field.
Of course.
But, the industry is also evolving.
Okay.
It's becoming more and more environmentally conscious with, a focus on reducing waste and emissions.
Okay.
It's a field where you can make a real difference.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tackle some of those interview questions.
All right.
RoleCatcher's interview guide has some great examples. First up, what inspired you to pursue a career in chemical metallurgy?
That's a good one.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But what are interviewers really getting at here?
They want to see your passion.
Okay.
This is your chance to tell your story.
I like that.
What sparked your interest in the field? Was it a specific class,
Right.
a mentor, a documentary? Maybe you were fascinated by how things are made. Or the idea of transforming raw materials into something useful.
Yeah.
Think about, those aha moments
Oh.
and what truly drives you.
So a generic answer like I'm good at chemistry isn't going to cut it.
Definitely not be genuine. Be specific.
Got it.
And let your enthusiasm shine through.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to get a little personal.
Okay.
Did you tinker with electronics as a kid?
Uh-huh.
Were you always fascinated by the properties of different metals?
Yeah.
Those little details can really make your answer memorable.
All right. Good advice.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Can you describe your experience with metallurgical testing and analysis?
Okay.
This is where you can really showcase your technical skills, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Be ready to dive into specifics.
Okay.
What testing methods are you familiar with? What tools and techniques have you used? Don't just list them.
Got it.
Explain how you applied them, the challenges you encountered, and the results you achieved. Did you use tensile testing to determine the strength of a material?
Right.
Or maybe X-ray diffraction to analyze its crystal structure?
So instead of just saying, I'm familiar with tensile testing,
Yeah.
I should give a specific example. Like, during my internship, I used tensile testing to evaluate the strength and ductility of various steel alloys for a pipeline project. This helped the team select the optimal material for the application, considering factors like stress, corrosion resistance, and weldability.
Perfect. That paints a much clearer picture of your experience and expertise.
Okay.
You're not just listing skills, you're demonstrating how you've applied them in real-world situations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This next question is interesting. How do you stay up to date with the latest developments and trends in chemical metallurgy?
Oh, that's a good one.
I was trying to see if I'm just coasting on what I learned in school.
Yeah. They want to see that you're committed to continuous learning.
Yeah.
The field is constantly evolving with new technologies and approaches emerging all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about how you stay informed. Do you subscribe to industry publications?
Yeah.
Attend conferences or webinars?
Okay.
Are you active in professional organizations?
So I shouldn't be shy about mentioning things like being a member of the Minerals, Metals, and Materials Society. No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And regularly attending their conferences and workshops.
Right.
Or that I follow industry blogs and journals to keep up with the latest research on things like additive manufacturing or high-entropy alloys.
Exactly. It shows you're invested in your professional growth
Okay.
and passionate about staying ahead of the curve.
I like that.
Plus, it's a great way to network and learn from the best in the field.
Makes sense.
The interviewer might even ask you about a recent article you read or a presentation you attended.
Okay.
So be prepared to share some specifics.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into problem-solving territory. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a metallurgical issue in a manufacturing process?
Okay.
I feel like they're testing my ability to think on my feet here.
They want to know how you apply your knowledge to real-world problems.
Makes sense.
Choose an example where you identified a problem, analyzed the situation, and came up with a solution. Bonus points if you can quantify the positive impact.
So instead of just saying, I'm good at troubleshooting,
Right.
I should describe a specific incident.
Yeah.
Like that time, a batch of aluminum castings had porosity issues.
Okay.
I can explain how I used metallographic analysis,
Uh-huh.
basically examining the metal's microstructure under a microscope
Yeah.
to identify the root cause.
Okay.
It turned out to be improper degassing during the casting process.
Interesting.
I then recommended a process change to prevent it from happening again,
Right.
which saved the company time and money.
Excellent example.
Awesome.
You walk through the problem, your analysis, and the solution, highlighting your technical skills and problem-solving abilities.
Perfect. Next question. How do you approach collaborating with other departments, such as design or manufacturing, to ensure the optimal performance of a metallurgical component?
Okay.
Teamwork is key in this field, right?
Absolutely. You need to be able to effectively communicate and work with others.
Right.
This question is all about your interpersonal skills.
Yep.
Can you explain complex technical concepts to people who may not have a background in metallurgy?
Yeah.
Can you build consensus and find solutions that satisfy multiple stakeholders?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I remember working on a project where the design team wanted to use a lighter but less durable alloy for a car part to reduce weight.
Okay.
I presented data on the material's fatigue properties, explaining how repeated stress could lead to cracks
Right.
and potentially compromise the part's safety.
Uh-huh.
We worked together to find a compromise that met both the design and performance requirements.
That's a great example of collaboration.
Cool.
You didn't just say no to the design team's proposal. You presented your expertise in a way that was understandable and persuasive,
Yeah.
and then worked collaboratively to find a solution that worked for everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now for a question that lets us showcase our innovative side.
Okay.
Can you describe a project where you implemented a new metallurgical process or technology?
Right.
This is our chance to shine.
It is.
They want to see that we're not afraid to embrace new ideas and technologies.
Right.
Describe a project where you went beyond the status quo
Uh-huh.
and made a positive impact.
Okay.
What were the challenges? What did you learn?
Right.
In college, I did research on a new type of electrowinning process for extracting copper.
Interesting.
It was more energy efficient and generated less waste than traditional methods.
Okay.
We had to overcome some technical hurdles,
Sure.
but eventually we were able to prove its effectiveness.
Perfect. That's a great example of how you've applied your knowledge to develop innovative solutions.
Cool.
And it highlights your interest in sustainability, which is a growing concern in the metals industry.
It is.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you had to manage a project involving multiple stakeholders and competing priorities?
Okay.
Sounds like you're looking for some serious project management skills.
They want to see that you can handle complexity, manage expectations, and deliver results.
Right.
Did you create timelines, delegate tasks, or communicate regularly with stakeholders? These are all important aspects of project management.
When I was implementing a new quality control system in the lab,
Okay.
I had to get buy-in from different team members, manage budget constraints,
Right?
and ensure the system met all regulatory requirements.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
but we managed to roll it out successfully.
Good.
I used project management software to track progress,
Okay.
held regular meetings to keep everyone informed,
Mm-hmm.
and addressed roadblocks as they arose.
Excellent. And that's a clear example of your project management abilities in action.
Right.
You're demonstrating that you can handle the pressures of a complex project
Mm-hmm.
and bring it to a successful conclusion.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for this part of our dive.
Right.
How do you approach mentoring and coaching junior members of your team?
Okay.
This is about more than just being technically skilled, right?
It is. It's about leadership
Yeah.
and your ability to develop others.
Right.
How do you create a supportive learning environment?
Mm-hmm.
Do you provide constructive feedback?
Okay.
Do you help junior team members identify their strengths and areas for growth?
When I mentored interns in the lab,
Okay.
I focused on creating a safe space
Yeah.
where they felt comfortable asking questions
Uh-huh.
and taking on new challenges.
All right.
I provided regular feedback,
Good.
helped them connect their academic knowledge to real-world applications,
Mm.
and encouraged them to think critically and creatively.
That's a great approach.
Awesome.
It shows you understand the importance of mentorship and have a genuine interest in helping others succeed.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
we have.
But before we move on to the next batch of questions,
Okay.
let's talk about how RoleCatcher's AI
Yeah.
can help tailor your answers
Uh-huh.
and give you that extra edge in the application process.
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's dive into that next.
Okay.
Yeah. RoleCatcher's AI, it's like having a personal assistant for your job search.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can, analyze job descriptions
Mm-hmm.
and compare them to your resume,
Okay.
highlighting areas where you might need to strengthen your presentation.
So it goes beyond just looking for keywords.
It does.
It's actually understanding the context of the job
right?
and suggesting how I can showcase my skills
Makes sense.
in a way that resonates with the hiring manager.
For example, if a job description emphasizes process optimization,
Okay.
RoleCatcher might suggest you rephrase a bullet point on your resume to highlight how you improve the efficiency of a manufacturing process by a certain percentage.
I see.
It's about making sure your accomplishments are framed in a way that aligns with the specific requirements of the job.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like translating my skills into the language the hiring manager speaks.
Right.
Now, earlier you mentioned RoleCatcher's Copilot feature.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Think of Copilot as your AI interview coach.
Okay.
It can help you craft, really compelling answers to those open-ended behavioral questions
Okay.
that often trip people up.
Yeah.
Questions like, tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership.
Right.
Or describe a challenging project and how you overcame it.
Those questions can be tough
They can.
because there's so many different directions you could go.
Exactly.
How does Copilot help narrow it down?
Well, Copilot analyzes the question,
Okay.
identifies the key skills and qualities the employer is looking for, and then suggests relevant examples from your own experience that you can weave into your answer.
So it's not about giving me a canned response.
No.
But rather helping me identify the most impactful stories from my own background.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And Copilot actually goes even further by providing feedback on your delivery.
Really?
You can record yourself answering practice questions.
Oh, wow.
And Copilot will analyze your tone of voice, your pacing,
Wow.
even your body language
Interesting.
to help you come across as confident and engaging.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like having a virtual mock interview with an expert coach.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
But now that we've touched on how RoleCatcher can help you prepare,
Okay.
let's go back to those sample interview questions
Okay.
and explore some potential follow-up questions that might come up.
Great idea. The more prepared we are, the better.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Remember that first question. What inspired you to pursue a career in chemical metallurgy?
Mm.
If you mentioned a particular class or professor, the interviewer might follow up by asking, what was it about that class or professor that resonated with you?
They're digging deeper into your motivations.
Yeah.
Trying to understand what makes you tick.
Yeah.
I guess a good answer would highlight specific concepts or projects that sparked your interest.
Right.
And connect them to your career goals.
Exactly. And they might also ask, what other career paths did you consider and why did you ultimately choose chemical metallurgy?
Makes sense.
This is a chance to demonstrate that you've thought critically about your options.
Right.
And are truly passionate about this field.
It shows you're not just following a path of least resistance,
Uh-huh.
but have a genuine interest in metallurgy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what about follow-up questions for that experience with metallurgical testing and analysis?
Okay, good question.
If you described a specific testing method, like tensile testing,
Right.
they might ask you to explain the principles behind it. For example, what are the key parameters measured in a tensile test, and what do they tell us about the material's properties?
That's a good reminder that I need to not only be able to perform the tests,
Yeah,
but also understand the underlying scientific principles.
absolutely.
They might also ask about specific challenges I encountered during testing and how I overcame them.
Right. They want to assess your problem-solving skills
Okay.
and your ability to think critically when faced with unexpected results.
That makes sense.
For instance, they could ask, have you ever had a tensile test fail prematurely? And if so, how did you determine the cause of the failure?
Interesting. It's not just about knowing the textbook procedures,
Right.
but also being able to troubleshoot and adapt when things don't go as planned.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, let's revisit that question about staying up to date with industry trends.
Okay.
If you mentioned following industry publications or attending conferences, the interviewer might ask you to share a specific example of something you learned recently that sparked your interest.
So I should be prepared to talk about a particular article I read, a presentation I saw,
Yeah.
or even a conversation I had with someone at a conference.
Right. And be prepared to articulate why it interested you
Okay.
and how it might relate to your future work.
Mm-hmm.
They might even follow up with, how do you think this trend will impact the future of chemical metallurgy?
That's a good opportunity to showcase my ability to think strategically
It is.
and connect the dots between current trends and future opportunities.
Exactly.
Now, let's revisit that question about staying up to date with industry trends.
Okay.
If you mentioned following industry publications
Right.
or attending conferences,
Yeah.
the interviewer might ask you to share a specific example of something you learned recently
They might.
that sparked your interest.
Yeah.
So I should be prepared to talk about a particular article I read,
Right.
or a presentation I saw, or even a conversation I had with someone at a conference.
Exactly.
Okay.
And be prepared to articulate why it interested you
Okay.
and how it might relate to your future work.
Yeah.
They might even follow up with, how do you think this trend will impact the future of chemical metallurgy?
That's a good opportunity to showcase my ability to think strategically
Yes.
and connect the dots between current trends and future opportunities.
For sure.
Now, what about follow-up questions for that problem-solving example
Okay.
where I described troubleshooting the porosity issue in the aluminum castings?
All right, so the interviewer might ask you to elaborate on the specific metallographic techniques you used to identify the root cause of the porosity. For instance, what types of microscopic features did you look for in the metal samples, and how did they help you determine that proper degassing was the culprit?
That's a good reminder that I need to be able to articulate my technical knowledge clearly and concisely.
Yeah.
I should be prepared to explain complex concepts in a way that someone without a background in metallurgy can understand. They might also ask about alternative solutions you considered and why you ultimately chose the approach you did.
Exactly. Or they might ask, what steps did you take to prevent the porosity issue from recurring in future production runs?
Interesting. They're looking for evidence that I'm not just reacting to problems,
Yeah.
but also thinking proactively about long-term solutions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And now let's move on to that collaboration example where you talked about working with the design team on the car part. The interviewer might ask you to describe the specific data you presented to the design team and how you tailored your communication to their level of understanding. They could ask, how did you ensure that the design team understood the potential risks associated with using a less durable alloy?
It's all about being able to communicate technical information effectively and persuasively.
It is.
They might also ask about challenges I faced in getting buy-in from the design team and how I overcame them.
Exactly. Collaboration often involves navigating different perspectives and finding common ground.
Yeah.
They might ask, what strategies did you use to build consensus and ensure that all stakeholders felt heard?
That's a good point. It's not just about presenting my own ideas,
Right.
but also about listening to others
Yeah,
and finding solutions that meet everyone's needs.
for sure.
Now, let's move on to that question about implementing a new process or technology,
Okay.
where I talked about the electrowinning research project.
All right, so the interviewer might be curious about the specific challenges you encountered
Okay.
in scaling up the electrowinning process from the lab to a potential industrial application. They could ask, What were the key technical hurdles you faced, and how did you address them?
That's a good reminder that innovation often involves a lot of trial and error.
It does.
I should be prepared to talk about the setbacks I faced,
Yeah.
how I learned from them,
Right.
what steps I took to improve the process.
They might also be interested in the potential economic and environmental benefits of the new process.
Right.
They could ask, how did the new electrowinning process compare to traditional methods in terms of energy consumption, waste generation, and cost effectiveness?
That's a great opportunity to highlight the sustainability aspects of my work.
It is.
And how I'm contributing to a more environmentally friendly industry.
For sure.
Now, what about those follow-up questions for the project management example?
If you mentioned using project management software,
Yeah.
they might ask about the specific software you used and your experience with it.
Okay.
They could also ask about your approach to managing risks and dealing with unexpected delays or roadblocks.
So it's not just about following a plan, but also about being adaptable and knowing how to adjust course when needed.
Exactly.
They might also ask about my communication style.
Yeah.
And how I kept stakeholders informed throughout the project.
Right. Effective communication is crucial for successful project management.
It is.
They might ask, how did you ensure that all stakeholders were aware of project milestones, deadlines, and any changes to the plan?
Now let's delve into potential follow-up questions for that final question about mentoring.
Okay.
If I mentioned creating a supportive learning environment,
Right.
the interviewer might ask about specific strategies I use to foster that environment.
Yeah, they could ask, what steps did you take to ensure that interns felt comfortable asking questions and sharing their ideas?
That's a good opportunity to highlight my mentorship style and my approach to creating a positive and inclusive learning experience.
It is.
They might also ask about specific feedback I provided to interns and how I helped them develop their skills.
Right. That's a reminder that mentorship is not just about giving praise,
Yeah.
but also about providing constructive criticism and guidance to help people grow.
They might also ask about challenges I faced in mentoring interns and how I overcame them.
Right. Mentoring is a rewarding experience.
It is.
But it also comes with its own set of challenges. They might ask, have you ever had an intern who was struggling to grasp a particular concept or skill? And if so, how did you adjust your approach to help them succeed?
So we've covered a ton of ground on chemical metallurgy interview prep.
We have.
But you're right, there's one more piece of the puzzle, researching the company.
Absolutely. It's amazing how many candidates skip this step.
Really?
Yeah, imagine walking into an interview without knowing what the company actually does.
Not a great first impression.
Not at all.
Definitely not. But it goes beyond just knowing their products or services.
It does.
What kind of research should a chemical metallurgist candidate be doing?
Start with the basics, their website,
Okay.
recent news articles, maybe even their social media.
Right.
What are their core values?
Okay.
Their mission? What projects are they working on?
So, for example, if I'm interviewing with a company that specializes in recycling metals, I should be prepared to talk about the importance of sustainability and circular economy practices.
Exactly. Tailor your research to the specific company and role. Okay.
If they're heavily involved in research and development, be ready to discuss any recent innovations or publications they've put out.
It's about showing them you're not just looking for any job.
Right.
You're specifically interested in their work.
Exactly.
How your skills can contribute to their success.
It demonstrates initiative and a genuine desire to be part of their team.
I like that.
And don't be afraid to weave your research into your answers to those interview questions.
So if I'm asked about my career goals, I could mention how I'm particularly excited about the company's work in a specific area, like developing new alloys for renewable energy applications.
That's a great way to connect your aspirations to their priorities.
Okay, cool.
It shows you've done your homework and are thinking about how you can add value to their organization.
Now, I know we focus a lot on technical skills and experience.
We have.
But there's another crucial aspect of acing an interview, showcasing those soft skills.
Absolutely.
Like communication, teamwork, and problem solving.
Yeah.
Those soft skills are essential for any successful chemical metallurgist.
They are.
Remember, you're not just working with metals, you're working with people.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So how can I demonstrate those soft skills effectively during an interview?
It's all about storytelling.
Okay.
Use specific examples from your experience to illustrate those skills in action.
Okay.
Did you successfully navigate a conflict with a team member?
Right.
Did you find a creative solution to a challenging problem?
All right.
Did you effectively communicate a complex technical concept to a non-technical audience.
So instead of just saying, I'm a good communicator,
Right.
I should share an anecdote about how I presented a technical report to a group of executives and persuaded them to invest in a new research project.
Exactly. Those real-world examples bring your skills to life and make you a more memorable candidate.
Awesome.
And remember, enthusiasm and a positive attitude go a long way.
They do.
Let your passion for chemical metallurgy shine through.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I'm feeling so much more prepared for my interview now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Any final words of wisdom for our listener?
Remember, an interview is a two-way street.
Okay.
It's not just about them evaluating you. It's also a chance for you to assess if this company and role are the right fit for you.
That's a good point.
Ask thoughtful questions, engage in the conversation, and be yourself.
Great advice. And don't forget to check out RoleCatcher.
Yeah.
Their AI-powered tools can help you tailor your application. Practice your answers.
Right.
And boost your confidence. You've got this.
Good luck with your interview.
Thank you.
The world needs talented chemical metallurgists like you
I appreciate that.
to shape the future of material science.
That's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck in your job search.